All right. So quarterback Aaron Rodgers finally signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers after months of rumor and speculation. Let's break down the contract details, talk about what I expect from Aaron Rodgers this upcoming season, and at the end I'll explain to you guys why I think the Steelers, even with Aaron Rodgers, their season really won't matter in the grand scheme of things. But before we jump into all the good stuff, hope y'all are having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shoemake, and this is the Shoemake Take. Hope you guys are doing well. As you can tell, I'm finally back in my own room. I'm back at the desk. Got the mic on the table, tablet right here, not having to look down right here like this, like I did in my Kyle Pitts video, which you should go check out, by the way. I'll throw a card up there. But we're back in the home. We're back in the swing of things, normally, back to normal, whatever words you want to use. So outside of all that, let's just jump into talking about Aaron Rodgers. So the drama is finally over. After it was announced months ago that, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it finally happened. And now that the news is broke, and my first impression seeing the news break, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, this took way too long, unnecessarily too long in my opinion. And what makes it interesting was now that he's actually signed, reports have come out that he was the third option the Steelers were looking for at quarterback. Number one was Justin Fields. He quickly left and went to the Jets and got a big contract over there. And then the second option, I'm pretty sure, was Matthew Stafford. At the least, it was another veteran quarterback, which if it was Matthew Stafford, well, he got a new contract relatively quickly. And it was about a month and a half to 2 months after those two events happened, with Justin Fields going to the Jets and Matthew Stafford re-signing with the Rams. And, well, I mean, it took way too long. At that point, I mean, if it was truly the third option, I feel like this would have been done sooner, right? Even after those Fields and Stafford were off the market, I feel like the Steelers could have, like, kind of had a little bit more urgency to that. But it seems like from both parties, maybe they were just waiting till mandatory minicamp and then, okay, let's get in the building when I need to get into the building and get it all done then and there. Which, if that's truly the case, fine, I get it. I just think it was an unnecessarily long entire ordeal, if you want to put it that way. It just made no sense to me why it took so long when it could have been done so much sooner. But let's just jump into the contract. Contract really don't got a lot to talk about here, if I'm being entirely honest with you. You look at the terms, it's a 1-year, $13.6 million contract, and $10 million of it's guaranteed at signing. You can't see it here. I don't know why Spot Track never updated this, but according to CBS Sports, the cap hit is going to be around $14 million, more specifically $14.15 million. So very cheap contract for Aaron Rodgers to get him for 1 year. Makes sense though, because I mean he is 42 years old, 41, 42, and yeah, he's like in his 23rd, 24th season, something like that. I've lost track. I can't keep count. But anyways, he's finally with the Steelers. The contract is set. He's on the field for mandatory minicamp over there in Pittsburgh. So the ball is now officially rolling. But there's a lot to unpack here with Aaron Rodgers. And before we actually get into what I expect from Aaron Rodgers, one thing that I'm going to be very interested with in following the Steelers this season is their power dynamic. Because it's pretty well known at this point that Aaron Rodgers likes power. He likes control. He likes to have his hand in the cookie jar at all times. We saw that near the end of his run in Green Bay, where he had a lot of control over play calling and doing all that type of jazz. And then when he got to the New York Jets, I mean, he recruited so many Jets players to go to the team and play for him. And the Jets, kind of bent over backwards for him. Not just with players, but coaches like Nathaniel Hackett, for example, was one. And so there's no doubting that he likes power, he likes control. The other thing too with that is offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. He's not power hungry in that type of way. It's not like Aaron Rodgers. It's not the same type of they like power. But Arthur Smith is very set in his ways with how he runs his offense. I mean, it's been the exact same scheme, the exact same philosophy without much change since he was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. About, oh my God, almost 10 years ago by this point. Maybe more like 6 or 7 realistically. But he had a really run-heavy offense in Tennessee, goes to Atlanta, tries to do the same thing, doesn't work, and then he goes to Pittsburgh. And for a while, it looked pretty good when Russell Wilson first got in after, Justin Fields started the first quarter of the year. And then defenses figured it out, and their offense fell off a cliff for the most part. And so it's very outdated, and with the lackluster talent around Aaron Rodgers as well, which we'll talk about here closer to the end of the video, I wonder if the TV is going to catch a clip of these two, Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers, arguing, because Arthur Smith is set in his ways. He likes to run the football, but Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the football a lot. He likes the ball in his hands. He likes to run the offense his way. He likes to do stuff his way. And so I don't know how well those two personalities are going to mesh with each other when it comes to doing this thing. And I think we're going to see some hiccups maybe early on with the offense, and we might see these two kind of bickering at each other on the TV. So we'll have to see. I'll keep my eye out for that. Along with that, his interactions with Mike Tomlin. Here's the thing. Mike Tomlin, we know who he is. He's a culture guy, right? All his hard work, no BS. And, well, Aaron Rodgers, he likes doing his own thing for obvious reasons. I mean, he's in his 40s. He's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. And also, he's coming from the outside. It's not like Ben Roethlisberger, where he was there even before Mike Tomlin got there, and he was a Pittsburgh Steeler his entire career, right? So the dynamic's going to be a little bit different where, yeah, if you have a 37, late 30s Ben Roethlisberger who's been with the same organization the whole time, yeah, like that coaching dynamic between the quarterback and the coach, that's a little bit different compared to a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers coming from the outside into Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin already there. I don't think there's going to be a lot of issues, but it's one of those where it makes me wonder if these two are going to clash at some point, because to Mike Tomlin, like I said, he's a hard worker, no BS type of coach, where if you screw up, he's going to call you out no matter who you are on the team. He's going to hold everybody equally as accountable. And so you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is not really receptive, if you want to say, to hard coaching like that, where he's treated, the same level of accountability as like a guy like on the third string. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'll have a raised eyebrow. I think everything will be mostly fine. I don't expect to see any issues between these two, but there's an avenue where something might go down if the Steelers season doesn't go how they expect it to go. So all of this is going to keep me really invested in the sense of I'm going to have a raised eyebrow and kind of see if something happens. Like if I see Aaron Rodgers bickering with the coach or having a weird interaction with a player on the team, like I would not expect that popping up on my social media feed at all. I wouldn't expect, if I watch the Steelers game, to see it on television live myself. So we'll just have to see. It'll be interesting, but definitely I'll keep a raised eyebrow about that type of situation and that power dynamic between those three individuals. But now we get into what do I actually expect from Aaron Rodgers. Straight up, I mean, I don't know. Like, to be 100% like for real with you guys, I really don't know, because it's his age, right? He's in his 40s. You never know when a player's going to really slow down. But, I mean, for the most part, I mean, I think it would be safe to say, like, I expect him to be good, reliable, and stable for all three, for the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, the Steelers have not had that in a while, so I expect Aaron Rodgers to bring that. I expect him to be good, to be reliable, be stable. And stat-wise, I'm expecting roughly 3,500 yards, 20-plus touchdowns, maybe 8 to 10 interceptions. Very similar to a season like he had with the New York Jets. And that's the weird thing, is a lot of people thought that Aaron Rodgers was washed because of the year that the Jets had. I mean, the Jets were awful last year. But, I mean, if you look at Aaron Rodgers' stats, whether you look at him on, I don't know, I haven't watched Aaron Rodgers' film, so I can't speak for film, but if you look at his stats, at least in a vacuum, and you look at the numbers strictly, the numbers are better than the entire Steelers quarterback situation and all the Steelers quarterbacks that they've had since 2022. For 2022, it was awful. 2022 was all right. 2023 was awful. 2024 was a big mixed bag. And the last quarterback to have comparable numbers to what Aaron Rodgers did last year with the Jets was Big Ben's final year. And so we'll have to see. But, I mean, you're getting better quarterback play this year, I would hope, with Aaron Rodgers compared to what you've had the last 3 years. So that's a plus. But the big question is, does he redeem himself in that way? Because if Aaron Rodgers, even if he has almost the exact same stat line as last year, if the Steelers make the playoffs and if they actually win a playoff game, okay. Like, even if Aaron Rodgers is retire after this year, okay, he ended his career on a high note. It's not like he ended his career with the Jets where it went out on a whimper, winning only a handful of games. Okay, he loses in the divisional round with the Pittsburgh Steelers and calls it quits, and there you go. At least he finished, in the playoffs, had a good year. The Steelers had a good year. So at least that's going to look better than had he retired last year with the Jets. So there's a redemption story for Aaron Rodgers to follow and see if he completes that. And do the Steelers ultimately get better? Yes. I mean, they're better with Aaron Rodgers, sure. I mean, having Aaron Rodgers is better than having Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, in my opinion. But they aren't significantly better. And that's kind of why I think, this season's really not going to matter all that much for the Steelers. Now, let me be clear. Obviously, the season matters, right? I mean, obviously, for the players, the coaches, the fans, the season matters. For a bunch of people, actually. But to me, I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and they're not going anywhere farther with Aaron Rodgers than they would be probably with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields again. They're going to be in the playoffs more than likely. They might win a playoff game. They might actually, finally get a playoff win in almost a decade. And if that happens, Steelers fans rejoice. The curse is broken. But that remains to be seen. And it's not just that, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is good enough to elevate the Steelers. It's not that. It's that the roster still has issues. And it's not like the issues no bigger than the issues at, the offensive skill position players. Yeah, the offensive skill position. This is the worst group of weapons Aaron Rodgers has had around him that I can remember. Now, if there's a worse one, you can tell me. I haven't followed Aaron Rodgers' career strictly and all the weapons that are around him. From what I can remember, this group of talent and on running back, wide receiver, this is not very good. If I'm being honest, here's your starting 3 wide receivers. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Robert Woods. DK Metcalf, fine. He's a really good receiver. In my opinion, I think you could have just kept George Pickens and not even traded away draft capital for a older receiver and pay him all that money when you're probably going to have to pay George Pickens after this year. And so you get him cheaper this year. And also, I would argue George Pickens is more talented. He's obviously younger than DK Metcalf. So I don't know. We'll have to see who wins that trade between Dallas and Pittsburgh. But after that, Calvin Austin, he had a good second year. I mean, compared to his rookie year, he stepped up. But is he going to step up again? We'll have to see. That's an unknown. And then Robert Woods is washed. I mean, he's been a high-level wide receiver, or a low-level wide receiver 3, high-level wide receiver 4 for the past couple of years now. I mean, that's what he was when he was with Houston. And then the year before that, when he was in Tennessee, he did absolutely nothing for the most part. And then Pat Freiermuth is still there at tight end, who I like. That's fine. He's a good player. And then the running back position, Jalen Warren and then rookie Caleb Johnson, the third-round pick out of Iowa, the former Hawkeye. There should be an okay duo at running back. I don't expect the running back group to be great. I don't think you're going to see a 1,000-yard rusher for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. I don't think that happens, despite the fact that Arthur Smith loves to run the ball a lot. I just don't buy that. We'll have to see. Maybe Jalen Warren takes a step forward. Would be nice. And after that, you have a below-average offensive line. And I don't know. That's not the right situation you want to have around a 41, 42-year-old quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who could realistically, at his age, fall off a cliff production-wise at any point. And if Aaron Rodgers struggles, then this season for the Steelers will be an absolute disaster. Because if he's awful, you can't roll with Aaron Rodgers the whole year. And what's Mason Rudolph as a backup? What's he going to do? He's not a starter. He's not going to do anything for you. He's not going to bring you to the playoffs. That's not happening. So Aaron Rodgers is, in a way, one of the top 3 best players on the offense for Pittsburgh, which he should be. But the problem is after that, there's really not a lot in the cupboard here to make work with. So if things don't go well or Aaron Rodgers flops, the Steelers are going to be in a lot of trouble. So the offensive weapons needed to be better. Like I said, they're the worst around Aaron Rodgers that I can remember. So I don't know. It's really not concerning. And I think that really, lowers their ceiling of how far they could go in the playoffs if they actually make it. And that's not even talking about the defense. The defense should be good, right? They have a good defensive line. They have decent linebackers. Patrick Queen's okay. Peyton Wilson, the player came out of Nebraska, I think. He's coming into his second year. He's going to be healthy, so we'll see. I'm excited for him. I really liked him coming out of the draft last year. But The secondary will be okay. Joey Porter Jr. I like. They brought in Darius Slay, who I also really like as a signing, but he's on a one-year deal, so who's going to be playing outside after Darius Slay leaves after 2025? Who knows? But that's a conversation for another date. But will this defense finally play a full season where they're good? Will they finally be good from week 1 to week 18? Because no matter how good the Steelers' defense is, at the end of the year, they always seem to just be bad. They always seem to just throw games. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens game was awful. The Chiefs game was awful. And then look at the Ravens in the wild card round, which was, in my opinion, the worst playoff loss in Steelers history. It was so bad. It was disgusting. It was a disgusting thing to watch. Seeing the Steelers just get absolutely manhandled and dogged, and they didn't do anything about it. They didn't do anything about it on offense or on defense. They were straight up boring to watch. And going into this season, you gotta be something more than boring. And defensively, you have to just be consistent from week to week to week. And at the end of the year, stop playing bad. You gotta be consistent, for the love of God. Please, can we finally see that? I'm not even a Steelers fan, and seeing it happen every year is frustrating. And that's another reason why I don't think this season's gonna matter for the Steelers. Because where are they gonna go? They're gonna make the wild card round in the playoffs. Maybe they lose, and if they win, whoop-de-doo. Once again, Steelers fans, rejoice. But they make the divisional round, they lose, Aaron Rodgers retires, and then 2026, once again, you don't have a quarterback. Don't tell me right now that Will Howard is the answer for the future at the quarterback position. A 6th-round pick out of Ohio State. Yes, he won a national championship. Yes, he shows some good things on film. But is he a high-level talent? No. If he was a high-level talent, he wouldn't have gone in the 6th round. There's a reason why. And so you have that. And the Steelers, once again, won't be in a position to draft a high-level talent quarterback. They could have drafted Jalen Milroe. That would have made sense. He fits with the Pittsburgh Steelers culture and how hard he works, right? He's a leader. And also, like I said, insanely talented. You don't have to start him right away if the intention from the very beginning was to bring in Aaron Rodgers so you can sit him, let him learn, right? And then, okay, now you can build around Jalen Milroe and see what he's got. Apparently, he's doing pretty well in Seattle right now. And if I'm Pittsburgh, would I rather have Jalen Milroe or Will Howard? I'm sorry. I'd rather have Jalen Milroe. I'll bet on my coaches and, bet on his talent and try and develop the more talented guy. He has probably the second highest ceiling out of any quarterback in this draft class, not named Cam Ward. Maybe even higher than Cam Ward in terms of physical ability. So don't tell me Will Howard is the future at quarterback. Don't tell me he's going to be the answer and that, if he sits for a year behind Aaron Rodgers, he's going to come in and play well. Maybe he will, and maybe I'm wrong. But there's no indication that that's going to be the case. And if the Steelers plan on going with Will Howard in 2026, looking further ahead, I'm going to be worried for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But that'll be a conversation for a much, much, much later date. And so I think that's it. Honestly, I didn't think this video was going to be very long regardless, but I think I got all to my points. I didn't mean to have that be so abruptly ended, but that's pretty much it all I have right now. I mean, mandatory minicamp just started. Everything's kind of just here. Like, we heard the speculation that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Steelers, then nothing, and then boom, Steelers signed. He's out on mandatory minicamp. So, I mean, the entire timeline is just very shaky, and in a way, there's just not enough information to really kind of speculate too much right now. And obviously, this is still early June, right? So we'll have to see, and I'm going to be doing my schedule predictions. I'm going to be doing a team previews for every division, talking about each team more in depth. So once I revisit the Steelers for those videos later on, okay, we'll see what's going on. Maybe my opinions changed. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is lighting it up at camp. Calvin Austin looks good. Jalen Warren looks good. Caleb Johnson looks good. And this offense overall is performing well. It's consistent. They're playing on time, on schedule. And so if all that happens, great, then maybe I'll feel a little bit more confident. But right now, it's a very mixed bag because Aaron Rodgers is better. He's going to make the quarterback situation better, and the Steelers are going to be better with him. But is their ceiling going to be any higher? No, I don't think so because there's other issues on this roster that need addressing, and I don't think that it's going to be good enough. Aaron Rodgers is going to be good enough to elevate those issues around the Steelers. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you've made it this far, made it to the end, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel, as it helps me out tremendously as I continue to grow and spread my football passion to more and more people on this platform. We're currently at 78 subscribers, trying to get to 100 before the 2025 season starts, and at the rate that we're going to clear it. So please hit those 2 buttons. It's free, only takes a couple of seconds. If it's free, it's for me, you know what I'm saying? Along with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. How do you think Pittsburgh is going to do with Aaron Rodgers? Do you think Aaron Rodgers will have a good year, a bad year? Do the Steelers make the playoffs? Do they finally win a playoff game in 2025 with Aaron Rodgers? Let me know everything you think down there. And lastly, make sure you follow me and also share this video on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that good stuff. Getting everybody locked in and locked on to the Should Make Take, coming out with great content for you guys every single week. And that will do it for me and for this video. And as always, I will see you all next time.